In this video, I go to St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands on a snorkeling trip. We went to two different spots. First, this is the boat ride to the island. The first thing that we do is we go to the island, and then what we do at the island is we just practice snorkeling since it's the first time. Since it was my first time snorkeling, but anyway, we just practiced snorkeling, and it was pretty cool. And then the next location we went to was the actual snorkeling destination, which was on the complete other side of the island, and it was way more fishy. So this is when we were actually at the island. I was snorkeling in this scene, and there was a lot of fish everywhere. There was, like, as you can see, there's these yellow and black striped fish. I'm not sure what they're called, but all I know is that they're fish. And then this one was just more of like a weeds, it was not really any coral at all, just weed growing on rocks. So now I'm just here snorkeling, and then I saw an eel, which was pretty cool for being so close to the shore like this. Alright, so I'm snorkeling around, and then as you can see, there's just more grass everywhere and just a bunch of sticks. Ooh, there's a pretty big fish right there too. I couldn't talk during the video because obviously I was underwater. So anyway, there was fish everywhere, pretty small fish. At the second site we went to, there was way larger fish, but in here there's just pretty small fish. Anyway, there's also always those yellow and black fish. If anybody knows what those fish are, please tell me in the comments. I want to know. I don't really want to look it up right now. Anyway, here I was getting really close to these rocks because it was like that was really the only way I had to like swim over them. I was getting really close to them, and there was a lot of angelfish too. I'm not sure if anywhere in this video, but yeah, there's a lot of angelfish everywhere too. So this is when we got to the main diving destination. This was where there was all the bigger fish and all the big corals, and there was brain corals everywhere. Like everywhere you look, there was be a brain coral. Now in this area, I had to swim deeper to get to the deeper water. So I just cut there, and then the water was probably about 20 to 50 feet. Well, not 50 feet, but 15 to 20 feet, my bad. And then there was huge corals everywhere, like huge. These ones are pretty small, but the coral was really thick on the ground. And there was probably about like 20 other people diving with us, probably. I don't know. I didn't really count. Anyway, so so we're just there scuba diving. I'm not sure what that kind of. Oh, I skipped it. All right. Anyway, there was a fan curl, and this is where the water gets deeper. This is probably like 25 feet, probably. I don't know. No, not 25 feet. 15 feet, probably. But there was an underwater trail, and they had like these little signs on the ground that you could follow. And there was like these corals are huge right here, and you had to swim between them. It was really hard because this coral could scratch you. And then these, I think, are blue tangs. I searched it up, and Google said it was blue tangs, but I'm not too sure. Alright, anyway, as I keep on swimming, there is still a bunch of brain corals and a bunch of other coral everywhere. And then later in the video, it gets way more scary. This is nothing right now. This is nothing. These ones are pretty small compared to the ones that I saw earlier, that I saw later in the video. But see, there's these little signs in the ground. This one's talking about blue tangs, so those ones probably are blue tangs. I was swimming behind somebody, I'm not sure who that is. And yeah, those corals were huge. They would grow right up to the surface. Yeah, they look way bigger in person than on camera, because camera, my GoPro zooms out a lot, but in person, those things are absolutely huge. Those things are huge. I'm telling you, that rock right there, the big rock, that might look tiny, but that rock is huge. That's probably like 5 feet of rock. Alright, anyway, as I keep swimming, there's more coral, and there is just a few fish, but later as I keep swimming, there's way more fish. My camera didn't really pick up the fish well, but as you can see, there's one right there in the screen. I'm not sure what that is. There's two. There's actually three. A bunch of these fish were blue, which is pretty cool. And then this is where all the big coral starts coming out, and there was fire coral everywhere too. It was like fire coral, and don't touch fire coral. Oh, and this is where I'm not sure if we got off the trail, but these corals were really close. Like I could reach down and touch them if I wanted to, but I didn't because I didn't really want to. Anyway, these is where the coral gets huge. All of these corals are probably like 5 feet or something. These corals are so close to the water level. They were just that big. And all these fish are just like swimming in between the corals. I'm not sure if the camera didn't really get the fish swimming between the corals, but still, there was a bunch of fish swimming between the corals. And then some parts of the corals were big, some parts weren't, and there was some really strong currents blowing through there because the trail that we were on was really narrow, and there was a bunch of currents just like pushing you towards the coral, and if you touch the coral, some could be dangerous. And then there is a massive group of fish right here, which was pretty cool to see. Probably about 100 fish, and we went fishing, and all those fish, not one could bite my hook, which was sad. Alright, anyway, as I keep on swimming, there are just a bunch of brain corals still. Oh, that one looks pretty cool with the green. Alright, anyway, and then I'm still swimming, and then later in the video there's a huge barracuda, and then these two people were just swimming the opposite direction holding hands. I'm not sure why, but there's people swimming the opposite direction. You gotta move. Alright, anyway, there was a bunch of corals just here, and then these are big brain corals, and there's like this little blackfish. And then we swam off the trail once a tour guide dropped us, once a tour guide left, and then to do something else, I don't know. So we swam off the trail to like go somewhere just to explore. And then this is where the video kind of gets more exciting. So we decided to swim back to the boat because I was getting tired. So as we were swimming back to the boat, all these big corals were just like barricading us around, and we had to find some other way. And while we were finding the other way, there was a huge barracuda that comes later in the video. I'm telling you, this barracuda was absolutely huge. Like, this barracuda was really big. That's all I can describe. It was really big and mean. It looked mean, so we just decided to swim away really quickly before it bites anyone. Actually, I don't think we left yet. Yeah, I think we left. And then, as we were swimming the opposite direction of the trail, this is when all the corals get just absolutely wild. Like, all these corals just start growing like bigger and bigger. These corals some are fire coral, but look at these corals. These corals are almost touching the surface because these corals are just that big. And then all these corals are just huge. And then you couldn't even see the sand on the floor. Just the corals were just that like thick on the ground. You couldn't even see like sand on the floor. But yeah, right here, these corals were super close. I would probably not go snorkeling here again. Maybe in like a different place. Maybe like a place where the corals aren't so close. Maybe where the water is like deeper than 15 feet or something. Yeah, and the current was super strong, by the way. All these waves, we didn't really go on a good day. All these waves were just huge and like just bashing into you over and over. And I was like pushing you. You would just really get a beat down in these waves. So that's it. So here is another school of fish, and there was a lot of fish swimming by. There was like so much fish, like uncountable fish. Because each group of fish probably had like over 100 fish. And apparently these are blue tanks. I'm still not sure, but they all look pretty blue. Because I guess that's why they're called blue tanks. But these corals are just huge. And all these corals are just like super huge. And then we were swimming back to the boat, swimming the opposite direction of the trail. And then I'm just waiting to the point where it starts talking about the barracuda. And this coral was huge. Like, this coral was basically touching the surface of the water. Like, you could mistake it for sand if you're looking at it from the top. Like, this coral was just huge. Now this is where the video gets a bit crazy. There are these big corals just right in front of your face. These corals were just right there. Like, you could put your hand down and touch these corals. These corals are, well, as I said, these corals are pretty big. And then, see this brain coral right here? This is just big coral. Like, I could touch it if I wanted to. But the tour guide said you cannot touch the corals. And this is where we saw the huge barracuda. This barracuda was huge. This barracuda was probably the biggest fish I've seen in my life. Like, this fish was huge. And so we tried to swim away from it really quick, and it was just there. Like, 1 second it wasn't there, and 1 second it was there. And so we just kept swimming. We just got away. We just swam as fast as we can. And then we got to swim the other way too, because there's this big like barricade thing right in front of us made of coral. And we like had no time here to like actually swim away. So we just decided to swim over it, which was very risky because this is a huge coral. And then right there, it doesn't pick up well because like I'm moving the camera all over the place trying to get away from this coral, trying to get away from this barracuda. But right there, the current was super strong. That's where like I was like swinging the camera. There was a piece of fire coral, and I was trying to swim away from that, and then the current was so strong, pushing me towards the fire coral, and I tried to get away, and the thing that I'm trying to get away from, which was the fire coral, So what I would rate the trip to Buck Island? I would rate it probably a 8 because you got what you wanted. You went scuba diving and you saw a fish. Like, who could want more to like scuba diving? But that was really what you came there for. But I'll rate it 8.5 out of 10. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.